Good afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing today? I'm back with another fantastic Jesus video. You know what I'm saying? I know you guys like those. Who doesn't like a good Jesus video? You know what I'm saying? I really like Jesus. I watch a lot of Jesus videos on YouTube, guys. Let me tell you, I know a whole lot about Jesus. That's like, I'm an expert on Jesus. So, and what I discovered about Jesus is that almost everything Jesus teaches is like 100% opposite of the Torah and the Old Testament and the evil God of the Jews, Yahweh. Because, you know, a lot of people, they think Yahweh is Jesus, or they think Jesus is the son of Yahweh. That doesn't make any sense. Yahweh is the local tribal storm god of the ancient Israelites. He was a primitive caveman god. It's not the real God. The Old Testament is like mythology. Yahweh is essentially Zeus and Jupiter, Yahweh, Jehovah. So, but anyway, I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to just tell you, look, the Gnostics and the Marcionites were right. Yahweh's the devil. That's Satan. That's the devil. That's Beelzebub. But you can just tell everything Jesus teaches is opposite of Yahweh. Let's go through the list real quick. We'll just get a few examples. Like Jesus said, "It hath been said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth." What did Jesus mean by that? It hath been said. Where hath it been said at? It hath been said in the Torah. Like, I always got these Christians saying, Jesus was a Torah observant Jew. Jesus was teaching the Torah. No, he wasn't. The Torah literally says, like literally, guys, like it literally says, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Literally. That's what it says. You can go read it in the Torah. All right, what's the Torah? First 5 books of the Bible. The Torah says, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Jesus literally says, it hath been said in the Torah, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I say no. Turn the other cheek. Forgive them instead. You cannot reward evil with evil. So Jesus said that was evil. Jesus said eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth is evil. It's what he said. He said that's not the right way to go about things. He said the Torah was wrong. Moses was mistaken. Now, if Moses was in the wilderness with the Israelites and Jesus was out there with them, say Jesus was with the Israelites, and Moses said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, you better listen to Yahweh. Jesus is like, no, I know a better way. It ain't no eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I say forgive them instead. Moses would have stoned Jesus to death. Okay, facts. So Jesus is always opposite of Yahweh. In the Old Testament, in the wilderness, in the Torah, Yahweh puts Israelites to death for gathering sticks on the Sabbath. Jesus gathers corn on the Sabbath. He broke the Torah. He should have he did get put to death. They executed him. The Jews the Yahweh worshipers, the Jews, had Jesus crucified, had him executed because he blasphemed the laws of the Torah and he blasphemed Yahweh. That's just a facts, guys. Tell me why he got crucified. And they had every right to crucify him according to the Torah. According to the Torah. Not according to the real God and common sense, no. Because the Jews, one thing they did not have is sense. Alright, they have none of that. Those are the biggest religious whack jobs on the planet. So the Torah says to curse those that curse you. Alright, Genesis 12:3. I bring this up all the time because you guys don't know the Torah. All these Christians, you claim that you know so much about Jesus, you don't know the Torah. Oh, Jesus was a Torah teaching Jew. He taught the Torah. Well, what does the Torah say? You don't know. You don't know nothing. You just sit up and just repeat with someone else. You're just a parrot. Now the Torah in Genesis 12:3, Genesis 27-29, Deuteronomy 30:7, it says what? To curse your enemies. Anyone who curses you, you must curse them back. If you can destroy them, they'll be destroyed. So that's what the Torah teaches. That's what Yahweh teaches. That's what Moses taught. Okay, curse those that curse you. Destroy your enemies. Anyone who persecutes you, put curses on them. Destroy them. That's not what Jesus taught, guys. Jesus clearly teaches in Luke the 6th chapter. He says, bless those that curse you. He does not say curse those that curse you. That's what the Torah teaches. Are you guys dumb or what? I know the Christians are real dumb. The Torah says to curse those that curse you. The Jews use that today against Christians. Jews will say, if you hate Jews, if you curse the Jews, God will curse you, so you better not curse the Jews. And they'll use Genesis 12:3 as proof. But we know that Jesus literally says, bless those that curse you. Do not curse those that curse you. If you curse the Jews, God will not curse you. The Jews are supposed to bless you back. If the Jews were truly God's people and they were truly holy people, they would not curse those that curse you. They would not say, if you curse the Jews, God will curse you. They wouldn't say that. Christians teach the opposite. Christianity teaches us to what? Bless those that curse you. All right, pray for them that despitefully use you. Not wish death upon them, and pray to Yahweh that he destroys them. And going to send lightning and thunder on them and hit them with a tempest like the Old Testament says. No, you're supposed to pray for them, you big dummy. All right, that's why I pray for all you dummies, that you stop being so dumb. All right. Another opposite. So everything Jesus teaches is the opposite of Yahweh. Everything. Yahweh says to swear and take oaths in his name all through the Old Testament. So in response to that, Jesus says, do not swear and do not take any oaths at all. Let your yeas be yea and your nays be nay. That's 100% opposite, y'all. There's no, you don't even know why Jesus said don't take oaths. If I ask a Christian, how come Jesus said don't take oaths? He's like, because he don't like you doing it. No, why? There's a reason why he said that. Because that was a custom of the Jews. Of taking oaths in the name of Yahweh. Why was it their custom? Because it's a commandment in the Old Testament, in the Torah. Alright, that's why he said it, you big dummies. What's another example? Oh, you can't put new wine in old bottles. Can't sew a new piece of cloth on the old garment. That's what you guys are trying to do. Okay, alright, what there's more examples. Like, well, here's another example of opposites. I'm taking forever to get to the point. I asked Grok, when did the Latin Catholic Church first start using unleavened bread instead of leavened bread for the Eucharist? Right, did you guys know that? Originally, Christians did not use leavened bread. Why? How come the Christians originally did not use unleavened bread? They used leavened bread, like regular old bread with leaven in it. It rises. Oh, I got a little leaven the whole lump, right? Not in this case. The Lord is risen. All right. So originally Christians always used leavened bread. Why did they use leavened bread? Once again, it's opposite of the Old Testament. If the Old Testament says to do one thing, Jesus will tell you to do the opposite. Why? Because Yahweh's the devil. First of all, don't nobody want no unleavened bread because it's not very good. Leavened bread is way tastier. You can't even make a sandwich with unleavened bread. What, you gonna eat some crackers? Don't we want that, bro? We want some real bread. Oh, fake ass bread, unleavened bread. That's trash. Don't nobody want that, bro. That's Jew stuff. That's some Jew bread. That's Jews being cheap. That's how the Jews you know what I mean? Oh, sorry, guys. Let me read a little bit of this. I'm still driving. I'm about to pull up in a second. The Latin Western Catholic Church began using unleavened bread, azymes. Is that how you say that? Azamen? I do not know how to properly pronounce that word. I thought I was a pretty decent reader also. For the Eucharist, For the Eucharist, it gradually between the 8th and 11th centuries. All right, whatever. I'm trying to drive and read and it's not sounding right. With the decisive and irreversible shift occurring in the 9th to early 11th centuries in the Frankish Roman Rite. Here's a historical timeline based on primary sources and liturgical scholarship. So from the 1st to 7th centuries, we have almost the entire church, east and west, used ordinary bread. Right, so the first 700-800 years, all the Christians used unleavened bread. But you guys think the Catholic Church does everything the proper way. That's what you thought. Actually, I don't think you guys think at all. Almost the entire church used unleavened bread. Unleavened bread was exceptional and usually associated with Jewish Passover practice. Right. That's not Christianity. Unleavened bread is Judaism. That's not Christian. Okay, Judaism is devil worshiping. Or Yahweh is the devil. That's Satan. Why are we going to do the same thing as Yahweh? We're going to do the opposite of him. We're going to do the opposite of evil. Apostolic. That's the apostolic tradition. Y'all want to talk about apostolic succession and authority? Well, the apostolic tradition says leavened bread. That's what it says. How many of you Catholics were even aware of this? I'm sure a lot of you are. A lot of you Catholics are pretty smart. And I know you're smart, and that's why you're going to stop worshiping Yahweh, and you're going to tell others to stop doing it also. Because I know you're smarter than that. All right, from the late 7th to early 8th century, some monasteries in Gaul and Spain, they began experimenting with unleavened bread for, practical or symbolic reasons. It's easier to produce in large quantities, seen as pure. It was easier to produce. All right, that sounds like some Jew stuff. All right, cutting corners. That's cutting corners. You cutting corners. You cutting corners for the Lord. It's just like it. All right, I got to stop that. No universal rule yet. Still a local custom. That was just a local custom in the 7th and the 8th centuries. Now we're going to get to the 8th century. Oh, so I'm about to park here in a second. So give me a second. I'm going to talk. I'm going to keep on talking. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Yahweh has nothing to do with Jesus. Judaism and Christianity are two different religions, guys. That's why they're called two different religions. Did you know? When you look up different religions, Judaism and Christianity are two different religions. It's not the same religion. And when you have two different religions, that means you have two different gods. That's what that means, guys. If you didn't know. Because a lot of you guys are slow. So now I know that. That's why I'm here for you. So you got somebody who talks like a retard, me, to talk to the retards. So that makes sense. So that's why I'm here for you. All right, Frankish liturgist Alcuin of York, Amalarius of Metz, Malarius, that's really hard to say, of Metz start promoting unleavened bread as the bread of the Jewish Passover and therefore more historically accurate for the Last Supper. So these guys were Judaizers. These guys were like the Messianic Jews. I don't know what the hell they are, bro. They remind you of them goofy-ass Christians today who think Jesus was a Jew. They got their head stuck up the Jew's ass. So there ain't no new thing under the sun, to quote my favorite Old Testament book. Ain't no new thing under the sun. All right, so there's some Judaizers got in the church and they started changing things. They've been using unleavened bread. They have been using regular bread, leavened bread, for the entirety of Christianity's history. Until all of a sudden, somebody, you guys were doing it wrong. No, you're doing it wrong. Okay, the Catholic Church is doing it wrong. Alcuin already defends enzymes in his letters. The Carolingian Reform consciously adopts Roman practices, but adds the Frankish preference for unleavened bread. So what's up with these Frankish? There's a bunch of Jews in Gaul. That was the descendants. Who was a fucking Archelaus? Didn't Archelaus, the Herod Archelaus, didn't he migrate to France and he started a little colony of Jews? So I'm just making stuff up, guys. I'm making up theories. But you had all kind of Jews through there. There was some Jews got up in the church. Like, my Pope, your nose is awfully big. All right, 9th century, unleavened bread becomes the norm in the Frankish Empire and spreads to Rome itself under Carolingian influence. So, yeah, Charlemagne caused more harm than good, all right? People think Charlemagne was a great ruler. He caused a lot of reforms. You know, he's pretty much the thing that's got the Holy Roman Empire going. Well, came a little later after him with Hugh Capet and all them guys. Well, whatever. You know, it thing keeps going. But, so they consider him like some kind of OG. Like, they call him Charlemagne, Charles the Great. But really, this dude was an asshole. He did way more harm than he did good. So now, to this very day, we still have pagans complaining about Charlemagne because he was forcing pagans to convert by the sword like he was goddamn Muhammad. He went down and chopped down the Saxons' sacred tree. Okay, that was just wrong. This dude was evil, bro. So Charlemagne was evil. You shall know them by their fruits. You shall know them by their fruits. And his fruits weren't no damn good. So Charlemagne, he was a Yahweh worshiper. This nigga worshipped Satan. I need to do more research on Charlemagne. I've studied him in a bit, but I know there's a lot to the reign of Charlemagne. That totally reshaped the landscape of Europe, right? 10th century. Unleavened bread is now standard throughout the Latin West. France, Germany, northern Italy, England, and Rome. So unleavened bread is now standard by the 10th century in the West. And yeah, while you get to the time of the Crusades, you have the Latin Crusaders come from the West. They sack Constantinople, and they start fighting with the Eastern Christians because they had different customs. They said, "Oh, you guys are using regular bread. You guys are heathens." Well, here it is. The Eastern Christians and Byzantine and Constantinople, they were doing it the right way. They was doing it the way they've always done it. It was the West who changed things. I'm not an Eastern Orthodox either. I'm not Orthodox at all. I don't worship Yahweh. Yahweh's the devil. Like I said, the Marcionites and the Gnostics, they were right. Marcion was right. And Marcion made the first New Testament. Like, it just makes sense. All right, 11th century. The practice is universal in Latin church and becomes a major point of contention with the East. The 1054 schism sees the Greeks accusing the Latins of Judaism by using enzymes. How do you say that? Right, check that out. So the East accused the West of Judaizing. Why would they call? Well, I thought this is Judeo-Christianity. I thought this was Judeo-Christian beliefs. We have shared Judeo-Christian values. Jesus was a Jew. Jesus taught the Torah. Okay, Christianity is pretty much Judaism. No, it's not. It's not the same at all. It's actually 100% opposite. That's why the East accused the West of being Judaizers. And they are Judaizers. Go look at all the Pope's noses. Not all of them. The Latins countered that unleavened bread is the bread of the Passover and therefore of the Last Supper itself. But hold on, you don't only do the Passover once a year. I thought you do the Eucharist every time you go to church. Well, you got a Passover every week now. So it's not the same thing. You think it's the same, but it's not the same. So what you think and what is real is two different things. Cardinal Humbert of Silva Candida's 1054 bull of excommunication against Patriarch Michael Cerularius, these Latin names, bro, explicitly defends the Latin use of azymes. So one of you guys out there know how to say that properly. It's just a very strange word. 11 to 12 centuries onward, unleavened bread is mandated by law in the Latin Church. You will be a Jew. The Fourth Latrine Council, I'm going to call it the Latrine Council, and subsequent legislation the Fourth Latrine Council and subsequent legislation assigns the Council of Florence tries and fails to allow Eastern Catholics to keep leavened bread universally, but in practice the Latin discipline prevails in the West. So the Catholics are a bunch of dummies. Trent simply, and who's all molesting all the children too? I really starting to think they'd make you eat Jesus too, and all this stuff is weird. Guys, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Do you think the Catholic Church are like secretly devil worshippers? Or openly devil worshippers? I mean, it's kind of open with it. I guess it's all depends on your perspective. Everything is relative to your position and your perspective. So it may be open and clear to some of us, but to others is not. I mean, I really think it's like they worship Satan. I'm really starting to think that. I used to just say it just like, oh, they worship Satan. No, I'm thinking like literally, like actually. And I don't even like accusing people of crazy stuff like that, but it's really what it seems like. All right, you got the Latrine Council, summary of the turning point. So you can see the summary and all that. I asked another question. Did the Carolingians cause any other major changes in the church besides the Eucharist? Yes, the Carolingian era, from 750 to 900, especially under Pepin the Short, Charlemagne, Louis the Pious, is one of the most transformative periods in the entire history of the Western Latin Church. Right. And I think this is a key area of history that I need to study more, because I'm not an expert at all on this era. I don't think many of us are. I think we all need to study this more, see what we can dig up. The Carolingians did not just introduce unleavened bread. They fundamentally reshaped liturgy. I hate liturgy, bro. The stand up, sit down, let's read this, let's do that. I can't go to church because of that. Okay, if church was just a place we went to and we studied and we learned and we could just openly talk and discuss things, that would be a good time. But liturgy? Oh, that's torture. Don't nobody want to sit through that. Liturgy, law, education, scripture, church, governance, and even theology. Many of these changes remain embedded in the Roman Catholic Church today. Here are the major lasting changes that originated or were decisively imposed under Carolingian rule. Liturgical bread, Romanization of the liturgy. The local Frankish rites dominated in France. Rome had its own sober rite, but little influence north of the Alps. So there's a lot of changes. I don't really feel like reading all this no more. I'm actually ready to go. Multiple Western chant families, Galatian, Old Hispanic, Mozarabic, Hispanic, Mozarabic, Ambrosian, imposition of the Gregorian. I like the Gregorian chant. Actually, it's actually a Frankish Roman hybrid, it says. And suppression of other Western chant tradition. And that's a shame. Were there some chant traditions that were suppressed? There's a lot of things that were suppressed, guys. Like I said, Charlemagne was an asshole. He's a good reflection of Yahweh. That dude was an evil tyrant, bro. He was forcing people to convert by the sword. There's nothing good that came out of that administration. Okay? You shall know them by their fruits. You forcing people to convert by the sword. That's not the love of Jesus. That's the opposite of Jesus. That's putting fear. That's what some Yahweh would do. That's some Allah Muhammad would do. And like I said today, the main things the pagans have a problem with, there's two guys they really hate. They don't like Charlemagne and they don't like Theodosius. And can you blame them? Two assholes. See, one bad apple ruined a whole bunch. It only take one. But there's a whole lot more than just one. Bunch of assholes. Trying to, turn people away from Jesus. That's all Charlemagne does. Still to this day, he had a lasting impact on turning people away from Jesus through his acts of cruelty. Demon. Creed in the Mass. Hold up, what is this? The Nicene Constantinopolitan. Bro, what's up with these words? I know how to say it, but I can't say it. Constantinopolitan. The Constantinopolitan Creed was not sung at Sunday Mass. That was a challenge. Let's see you guys say that word. The Constantinopolitan Creed was not sung at Sunday Mass in Rome or almost anywhere in the West. Charlemagne unilaterally inserted a creed into the Mass. So let's read that again. The Nicene I can't even say it again. The fuck that word. Creed was not sung at Sunday Mass in Rome or almost anywhere in the West. Charlemagne unilaterally inserted the creed into the Mass. So they did not sing that. The hell with the Nicene Creed. The Nicene Creed links Jesus to the Old Testament and the God of the Old Testament. It says Mary was a virgin. Okay, there's a lot of problems with the Nicene Creed. And then they even changed the creed in the West. They added an extra word. Look. Yeah, right here. It says it right here. Charlemagne unilaterally inserted a creed into the Mass and added Philoque cause. This is still a big controversy. The Filioque became universal in the Latin Creed, a major theological dispute within the East. Singing the Creed at Mass is still standard, whatever. Right, they changed the, right here, the Filioque clause. Said the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father. Most Western councils before 800 followed Toledo III in Spain, but Rome itself did not use Filioque in the Creed. Carolingian theologians defended and enforced the Filioque. Charlemagne pressured Pope Leo III, who refused to alter the Creed to Rome, but succeeded elsewhere. So, yeah, Charlemagne was an asshole. He was just forcing change on everybody. And you know, he did it. Charlemagne would tell you, you're going to do what I say, you're going to die. Filioque remains in the Latin Creed today, is one of the proximate causes of the 1054 schism. So it was the West who caused the schism. It was literally the Catholic Church who broke up the church. Literally, it's their fault. You can't blame anybody else but them. I don't even feel like reading the rest of this, guys. Here, I'll put it on the screen. You can look this up yourself. Look. I'll just show you the changes in the far left comment. Well, Charlemagne increased literary literacy. Am I literate? Can I speak? That's the question. Charlemagne did increase literacy rates so he could have them write down his propaganda. I mean, being able to read is good, but if all you're able to read is lies and bullshit, what's the use? Didn't Socrates say the written word is going to ruin everything? I think something like that. Because once you write something down, now it's in stone and static. People think it's the law. Plus, it can be changed. It can be manipulated. So I agree with that. The spoken word is more powerful than the written word. Very, okay. Public penance for grave sins was the norm. Public penance for grave sins. Yeah. You like to embarrass people. Diverse local rites. Exorcism of minor orders vary widely. Papacy was under business. Whatever. So you can read the rest of that. I'm out of here, guys. I got shit to do. But I just wanted to bring up the fact that Christianity is not the same as Judaism. It's 100% opposite. It's like designed that way to be opposite of the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, they have unleavened bread. So Christians have leavened bread. Okay? The Old Testament says to curse and destroy your enemies. The New Testament says to love and to bless your enemies. Okay? It's always different. The Old Testament says you have to be circumcised. The New Testament says you do not have to be circumcised. So I gotta go. My phone's about to die anyway.